The sleek, silver spacecraft of the Zephyrians sliced through Earth's atmosphere, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to human detection systems. As it descended towards a remote forest clearing, the ship's exterior shimmered with an otherworldly iridescence, a stark contrast to the lush green canopy below. Inside the craft, Commander Syleth, a tall, willowy being with skin that pulsed with soft bioluminescent patterns, surveyed her crew. The Zephyrians, known throughout the galaxy for their logical minds and detached observation of other species, had come to Earth with a singular purpose: to study the peculiar behavior of humans, particularly their interactions with other life forms on the planet. "Prepare the observation panels," Syleth ordered, her melodic voice resonating through the ship's interior. The crew, each a master of different scientific disciplines, moved with fluid grace as they activated their equipment. Within moments, the ship's walls transformed into a series of high-definition screens, each displaying live feeds from various locations around the globe. Lieutenant Zara, the team's xenobiologist, tilted her head curiously as she watched the screens flicker to life. "Commander," she called, her multifaceted eyes glinting with interest. "I've never seen anything quite like this. Look at how these humans interact with the other creatures." Syleth glided over to Zara's station, her attention caught by a scene unfolding in a suburban backyard. A small human child was approaching a large, furry quadruped, a dog, if their preliminary research was correct. The child extended a hand, gently patting the animal's head. To the Zephyrian's amazement, the dog's tail began to wag furiously, its eyes shining with what could only be described as joy. "Fascinating," Syleth murmured. "They appear to be bonding. But why? What evolutionary advantage could this possibly provide?" As the day progressed, the Zephyrians observed countless similar interactions. Humans petting cats, birds perching on outstretched fingers, even scaled reptiles being handled with care and affection. Each encounter displayed a unique blend of curiosity, affection, and connection that was entirely foreign to the logical Zephyrians. "This defies all rational explanation," declared Dr. Vex, the team's chief psychologist. "These humans form emotional attachments to creatures that offer no clear survival benefit. Some of these animals could even be considered potential predators or competitors for resources." Syleth nodded, her skin pulsing with a pattern that indicated deep thought. "We must delve deeper. Prepare the reconnaissance drones. We need more data to understand this phenomenon." With a flick of her wrist, Syleth activated a series of small, insect-like drones. They zipped out of the ship, their advanced sensors capable of capturing the minutest details of human-animal interactions without detection. As the drones scattered across the globe, the Zephyrians watched in rapt attention. They observed humans in various settings: homes, parks, farms, and even in the wild, consistently displaying this baffling behavior. In a bustling city park, they watched as an elderly human tossed breadcrumbs to a flock of pigeons, a smile crinkling their face as the birds eagerly pecked at the offering. On a remote farm, they saw a young woman gently brushing the mane of a horse, speaking to it in soft, soothing tones. In the depths of a dense forest, they marveled at a wildlife researcher who approached a wounded deer with caution and compassion, tending to its injuries with gentle hands. "It's not just domesticated animals," Zara noted, her voice filled with wonder. "They extend this care to wild creatures as well. Even to plants. Look at this human talking to their potted flora." Indeed, one of the screens showed a person tenderly watering a collection of houseplants, speaking to them as if they were old friends. As the Earth's sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the landscapes they observed, Syleth called her team together for a briefing. "What we've witnessed today challenges everything we thought we knew about interspecies relationships," she began, her skin pulsing with a mix of excitement and confusion. "Humans seem to have an innate drive to connect with other life forms, regardless of the apparent lack of survival advantage. This behavior appears to bring them joy." Dr. Vex interjected. But how can we quantify this joy? What is its purpose? How does it benefit their species? Sylith considered this for a moment. Perhaps, she said slowly, the benefit isn't something we can measure with our traditional metrics. We may need to expand our understanding of what constitutes an evolutionary advantage. The team fell into a contemplative silence, each lost in thought about the implications of their observations. Commander, Zara spoke up, breaking the silence. I have a proposal. To truly understand this behavior, we need to experience it firsthand. I suggest we create some form of interaction experiment. Sylith's skin flickered with a pattern of intrigue. Elaborate, Lieutenant. We could create lifelike robotic replicas of Earth creatures, Zara explained, her excitement growing. We'll release them in controlled environments and observe how humans interact with them. This way, we can safely study their reactions up close without risking direct contact. The commander considered the proposal, her skin pulsing with rapid patterns as she weighed the potential risks and benefits. Finally, she nodded. Approved, Lieutenant. Begin preparations immediately. We'll commence the experiment at dawn. As the Zephyrian crew bustled into action, designing and constructing their robotic creatures, a sense of anticipation filled the air. They stood on the brink of unraveling a mystery that challenged their fundamental understanding of intelligent life. Outside, the Earth continued its quiet rotation, blissfully unaware of the alien observers who were about to delve deeper into one of humanity's most cherished traits, the capacity for interspecies empathy and connection. As the first streaks of dawn painted the sky, the Zephyrians prepared to embark on a journey that would not only change their perception of humans, but also prompt them to question their own detached approach to the universe around them. The experiment. As the first light of dawn crept across the sky, the Zephyrian ship hummed with activity. Lieutenant Zara stood before a row of stasis pods, each containing a perfectly crafted robotic replica of an Earth animal. Dogs, cats, birds, and even more exotic creatures like foxes and otters lay dormant, waiting to be activated. The biomimetic skin is remarkable, Commander Sylith observed, running a slender finger along the fur of a robotic dog. The humans won't be able to distinguish these from their organic counterparts. Dr. Vex approached, his multifaceted eyes gleaming with anticipation. Remember, these aren't just visual replicas. We've programmed them with complex behavioral algorithms based on our observations. They'll respond to human interaction just as a real animal would. Sylith nodded, her skin pulsing with a pattern of approval. Excellent work, team. Now let's begin phase 1 of our experiment. The first batch of robotic animals was deployed in a bustling city park. Hidden cameras and sensors were strategically placed to capture every detail of the interactions. The Zephyrians watched with bated breath as the first humans entered the park. A young woman jogging along the path was the first to encounter one of their creations, a golden retriever sitting placidly by a bench. She slowed her pace, a smile spreading across her face as she approached the dog. "Hey there, buddy," she cooed, crouching down. "Are you lost?" The robotic dog tilted its head, its tail wagging in a perfect imitation of canine friendliness. The woman's smile widened as she reached out to pet it. "Remarkable," Zara whispered, watching the feed. "Look at the change in her facial expressions, her body language. She's experiencing a positive emotional response to this interaction." Throughout the day, the Zephyrians observed similar scenes play out across various locations. Children giggled as they chased a robotic butterfly in a meadow. An elderly man spent hours on a park bench, gently stroking a purring robotic cat. A group of teenagers marveled at a robotic fox that had wandered out of the woods, snapping pictures with their phones. "They're not just interacting with domesticated species," Dr. Vex noted. "They show the same enthusiasm for wild animals, even potentially dangerous ones." As the experiment progressed, the Zephyrians introduced more unusual elements. They placed a robotic plant that would visibly grow when spoken to kindly. To their astonishment, humans not only talked to the plant, but some even hugged it, expressing joy at its growth. This defies all logical explanation. Sylith mused, her skin flickering with patterns of confusion and wonder. They form emotional attachments so quickly, and to such a wide variety of life forms. Phase 2 of the experiment involved more complex interactions. The Zephyrians programmed some of their robotic animals to display signs of distress or injury. The results were even more surprising. In a suburban neighborhood, a robotic bird with a simulated broken wing was placed on a sidewalk. Within minutes, a group of children discovered it. Instead of ignoring the creature or treating it as a curiosity, they immediately began to discuss how to help it. One child ran home to get a shoebox, while another gently picked up the bird, cradling it with unexpected tenderness. Soon, adults were involved, and the Zephyrians watched in amazement as an entire community mobilized to help this artificial creature they believed to be in need. They're expending significant time and resources to aid a being that offers them no discernible benefit, Dr. Vex observed, his tone a mixture of confusion and awe. Zara's multifaceted eyes sparkled with excitement. But look at their faces, their body language. This act of helping seems to bring them satisfaction, a sense of purpose. As night fell, the Zephyrians gathered to discuss their findings. The observation room buzzed with excited chatter, each scientist eager to share their interpretations of the day's events. It's clear that this empathy, this drive to connect, is deeply ingrained in human behavior. Sylith began, calling the meeting to order. But we're still no closer to understanding why. Dr. Vex stepped forward, his usual skepticism tempered by the day's observations. Perhaps we're approaching this from the wrong angle. We've been trying to quantify the evolutionary advantage of this behavior, but what if the advantage is the behavior itself? A thoughtful silence fell over the room as the Zephyrians contemplated this idea. Zara spoke up, her voice filled with excitement. What if this capacity for empathy and connection is what allowed humans to form complex societies, to cooperate on a large scale, to care for their young, their elderly, and even other species? Sylith's skin pulsed with a pattern indicating deep contemplation, an intriguing hypothesis. But to truly understand, we need to go further. We need to experience this for ourselves. The room erupted in a chorus of surprised exclamations. Direct interaction with other species was strictly against Zephyrian protocols. Their entire scientific approach was based on detached observation. I know this is unprecedented. Sylith continued, her tone firm. But we cannot fully comprehend this phenomenon from a distance. We need to understand how it feels. After hours of debate and careful planning, a decision was reached. The next phase of their experiment would involve direct interaction with humans. Using their advanced holographic technology, they would disguise themselves as humans and animals, allowing them to experience these connections firsthand. As the Earth continued its rotation, blissfully unaware of the alien observers in its midst, the Zephyrians prepared for their most daring experiment yet. Little did they know that this decision would not only change their understanding of humanity, but also prompt a profound shift in their own society's values and beliefs. The next dawn would bring new challenges, new discoveries, and the beginning of a journey that would bridge the gap between two vastly different species, united by the universal language of empathy and connection. Cultural exchange. The sun rose over a small coastal town, its first rays glinting off the Zephyrian ship hidden in a nearby forest. Inside, Commander Sylith stood before her crew, her skin pulsing with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Today, we embark on the most crucial phase of our mission, she announced. We will reveal ourselves to a select group of humans and initiate a cultural exchange. Remember your training. Maintain your holographic disguises, and above all, remain open to new experiences. The Zephyrians had chosen this quiet town for its diverse ecosystem and close-knit community. They believed it would provide the perfect setting for their experiment in interspecies interaction. As the town stirred to life, the first group of disguised Zephyrians made their way into the community. Zara, taking the form of a young human woman with curly hair and bright eyes, headed towards the local animal shelter. Dr. Vex, disguised as an elderly man with a kind face, made his way to the town's community garden. Syleth herself, appearing as a middle-aged woman with an air of quiet authority, approached the town hall. At the animal shelter, Zara was immediately overwhelmed by the cacophony of sounds and smells. Dogs barked excitedly, cats meowed for attention, and smaller animals rustled in their enclosures. A friendly volunteer approached her. "First time here?" The volunteer asked with a warm smile. "Don't worry, they're all sweethearts. Would you like to meet some of our residents?" Zara nodded, unable to form words as a wave of unfamiliar emotions washed over her. The volunteer led her to a pen where several puppies tumbled over each other playfully. Without thinking, Zara reached out to touch one. The moment her hand made contact with the soft fur, she gasped. The puppy looked up at her with trusting eyes, its tail wagging furiously. "They can sense kindness, you know," the volunteer said softly. "Animals have a way of knowing who has a good heart." Meanwhile, at the community garden, Dr. Vex found himself surrounded by humans of all ages, working together to tend to a variety of plants. A young girl approached him, holding out a ripe tomato. "Would you like one, mister?" she asked, her gap-toothed smile radiating warmth. "I grew it myself." Dr. Vex carefully took the offered fruit, marveling at its vibrant color. As he bit into it, flavors exploded across his palate, but more than that, he felt a strange sense of connection. To the child, to the garden, to the very earth itself. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "It's wonderful." At the town hall, Syleth introduced herself as a researcher studying community dynamics. The mayor, a jovial man with laugh lines etched deeply around his eyes, was more than happy to chat. "You've come to the right place," he beamed. "We're a small town, but we're like one big family here. Everyone looks out for each other, and that includes our furry and feathered friends too." As the day progressed, the Zephyrians found themselves drawn deeper into the life of the town. Zara spent hours at the animal shelter, learning to walk dogs and socializing with cats. Dr. Vex became engrossed in a community project to build birdhouses for the local park. Syleth attended a town meeting where issues ranging from local wildlife conservation to supporting elderly neighbors were discussed with passion and care. As evening approached, the Zephyrians regrouped in their ship, each bursting with stories and newfound emotions. "I've never experienced anything like it," Zara exclaimed, her skin flickering with joy. "The way those animals trusted me, looked to me for comfort, it stirred something deep inside." Dr. Vex nodded, his usually stoic demeanor softened. "I understood today why humans talk to plants. It's not about logic or measurable benefits. It's about nurturing, about being part of something greater than oneself." Syleth listened to her crew's reports, her own experiences swirling in her mind. "We've discovered something profound here," she said softly. "This empathy, this connection. It's not just a human trait. It's a fundamental force that binds all life together. We've always had the capacity for it, but we've kept it dormant in our pursuit of pure logic." The next few weeks saw the Zephyrians fully immersing themselves in the town's life. They attended local festivals, participated in beach cleanups, and even helped rescue animals during a storm. With each interaction, they felt their understanding of empathy and connection deepen. But it wasn't just the Zephyrians who were learning. The townspeople, believing their new friends to be human researchers, were fascinated by their unique perspectives and insightful questions. Discussions about the nature of compassion, the interconnectedness of ecosystems, and the role of empathy in society became common in cafes and community centers. One evening, as Syleth sat on the beach watching the sunset with a group of townspeople, a child asked a question that struck her to her core. "Miss Syleth, do you think aliens would be nice? Do you think they'd want to be friends with us and our animals?" Syleth looked at the child, then at the expectant faces around her. In that moment, she made a decision that would change the course of their mission. "I think," she said carefully, "that any beings capable of crossing the vastness of space would have to understand the importance of connection and empathy. And if they came here, to Earth, I believe they would be amazed by the capacity for love and compassion they found." As murmurs of agreement and further questions rose around her, Syleth's mind raced. She knew it was time. Time to reveal their true nature to these humans who had welcomed them so openly. Time to bridge the gap between their species in a real and meaningful way. That night, as she communicated her decision to her anxious but excited crew, Syleth felt a sense of hope she had never experienced before. Tomorrow would bring challenges, fears, and undoubtedly some chaos. But it would also bring the possibility of a new kind of understanding, not just between humans and Zephyrians, but between all living beings in the vast, interconnected cosmos. As the Zephyrians prepared for their revelation, Earth continued its serene dance through space, unaware that it stood on the brink of a new era of interstellar friendship and understanding. The crisis. The dawn broke over the coastal town, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold. But unlike the peaceful mornings of the past weeks, this day began with an undercurrent of tension. Commander Syleth and her crew stood before the town hall, their holographic disguises flickering as they prepared to reveal their true forms to the assembled townspeople. As Syleth stepped forward to speak, a distant rumble interrupted her. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and a plume of dark smoke rose from the horizon. Panic rippled through the crowd. "The old chemical plant," someone shouted. "It must have exploded." In an instant, the Zephyrians' carefully planned revelation was forgotten as the town mobilized to respond to the crisis. Fire trucks wailed in the distance, and people rushed to help evacuate those nearest to the plant. Syleth turned to her crew, their eyes meeting in silent communication. With a collective nod, they deactivated their holographic disguises, revealing their true alien forms to the stunned onlookers. Gasps and cries of shock echoed through the crowd, but Syleth raised her hands, her skin pulsing with calming blue lights. "Please," she said, her voice carrying a hint of its natural melodic resonance, "we mean you no harm. We are the Zephyrians, and we've been living among you to learn about your ways. Now let us help you in your time of need." For a moment, the townspeople stood frozen, torn between fear of the unknown and the urgent crisis at hand. It was the mayor who broke the silence, stepping forward with determination in his eyes. "Well," he said, looking up at Syleth, "you folks have been nothing but kind and helpful since you arrived. Alien or not, we could use all the help we can get right now." With that, the strange alliance began. The Zephyrians, no longer constrained by the need to hide their advanced technology, sprang into action. Zara used her knowledge of xenobiology to assess the potential health impacts of the chemical leak, while Dr. Vex employed Zephyrian atmospheric purification devices to contain the spreading toxins. Syleth coordinated with the local authorities, her ship's advanced sensors providing crucial data about the extent of the contamination and the direction of its spread. The Zephyrians worked tirelessly alongside the humans, their unique abilities and technology proving invaluable in the face of the disaster. As the day wore on, the immediate danger was contained, but the environmental impact of the chemical spill became apparent. The nearby forest, home to countless species and a vital part of the local ecosystem, was showing signs of rapid deterioration. "The chemicals are attacking the cellular structure of the plants," Zora explained, her multifaceted eyes filled with concern. "If we don't act quickly, the entire forest could die, along with all the animals that call it home." The news hit the townspeople hard. This forest was more than just a collection of trees to them. It was a beloved part of their community, a place of beauty and refuge. A young girl, tears streaming down her face, approached Syleth. "Can't you do something?" she pleaded. "You're aliens with amazing technology. There must be a way to save our forest." Syleth knelt down, her luminescent skin dimming to a soft glow as she gently placed a hand on the child's shoulder. "We will do everything in our power to help," she promised. "But the strength of this community, your love for this place, and all its inhabitants, that will be just as important in healing this wound." The Zephyrians huddled together, discussing potential solutions. Their technology could certainly help, but interfering too much in Earth's ecosystem could have unforeseen consequences. They needed to find a balance between their advanced capabilities and the natural resilience of Earth's environment. Finally, they proposed a plan. They would use Zephyrian biotechnology to create a specialized algae that could break down the harmful chemicals. But for the plan to work, they would need the help of every member of the community to distribute the algae and monitor its progress. The townspeople, having witnessed the Zephyrians' dedication and kindness firsthand, rallied behind the plan. Over the next few days, humans and aliens worked side by side, wading through affected areas to distribute the algae, checking on injured animals, and supporting each other through the long, tiring hours. As they worked, bonds deepened and understanding grew. Humans marveled at Zephyrian technology, but also shared their own knowledge of the local ecosystem. The Zephyrians, in turn, were constantly amazed by the humans' resilience, creativity, and deep emotional connection to their environment. One evening, as the sun set over the slowly healing forest, Dr. Vex found himself in conversation with an elderly botanist from the town. "You know," the botanist said, gesturing at the mix of humans and Zephyrians working together in the distance, "I always dreamed of encountering alien life. But I never imagined it would be like this. Not conquering or studying us from afar, but standing with us, helping us protect our home." Dr. Vex nodded, his typically analytical mind grappling with newfound emotions. "We came here to study your capacity for empathy and connection," he admitted. "We never expected to be so transformed by it ourselves." As the crisis gradually came under control, the Zephyrians faced a new dilemma. Their mission parameters dictated that they should leave Earth once their study was complete. But now, having formed deep bonds with the humans and the Earth itself, the thought of leaving was painful. Dilith called her crew together for a crucial meeting. "We've learned more than we ever imagined possible," she began, her skin flickering with a complex pattern of emotions. "But our most important discovery isn't about humans. It's about ourselves. We've awakened a capacity for empathy and connection that our society has long suppressed. The question now is, what do we do with this knowledge?" As the Zephyrians debated their future, Earth continued its healing process. The forest showed signs of recovery, its resilience a testament to the power of nature aided by the combined efforts of two species. But the true transformation was in the hearts and minds of both humans and Zephyrians, forever changed by their shared experience. The crisis had forged a bond between the two species, a living example of the very empathy and connection the Zephyrians had come to study. As they looked to the stars, both humans and Zephyrians began to imagine a future where this understanding could spread, bridging gaps across the cosmos and fostering a new era of interstellar cooperation and compassion. A new understanding. The forest, once on the brink of destruction, now thrummed with renewed life. Leaves rustled in the gentle breeze, birds sang their melodious songs, and the air was clean and fresh. It had been 6 months since the chemical plant disaster, and the combined efforts of humans and Zephyrians had not only saved the local ecosystem, but had fostered a profound transformation in both species. Commander Xylith stood at the edge of the forest, her iridescent skin reflecting the dappled sunlight filtering through the canopy. Beside her, the town's mayor looked out over the rejuvenated landscape, a sense of wonder and pride evident in his eyes. "You know," the mayor said, breaking the comfortable silence, "when you first revealed yourselves, I thought I'd seen it all. But what we've accomplished together, it's beyond anything I could have imagined." Dilith nodded, her skin pulsing with warm hues of appreciation and affection. "We came here to study your species' capacity for empathy and connection," she replied. "Instead, we've become a living experiment in interspecies cooperation. As they spoke, humans and Zephyrians worked together in the forest below. Dr. Vex, his multifaceted eyes gleaming with curiosity, was deep in conversation with a group of ecologists, discussing the long-term implications of integrating Zephyrian biotechnology with Earth's natural recovery processes. Nearby, Zara was teaching a class of elementary school children about the intricate web of life that connected every being in the forest, her natural luminescence captivating her young audience. The sight filled Silith with a profound sense of purpose. The decision to stay on Earth, to continue their mission not as detached observers, but as active participants, had been unanimous among her crew. The Zephyrian High Council, after much debate, had approved their extended mission, recognizing the unique opportunity for growth and understanding it presented. As the day progressed, the town gathered for a celebration marking both the forest's recovery and 6 months of open cooperation between humans and Zephyrians. The town square was decorated with a blend of human and Zephyrian art, the aliens' bioluminescent creations complementing the colorful banners and flowers arranged by the townspeople. Dilith took the stage, her form shimmering with a mix of excitement and solemnity. "Friends," she began, her melodic voice carrying across the attentive crowd. "When we first came to Earth, we sought to understand your unique capacity for empathy and connection. We watched as you formed bonds with animals, tended to plants, and cared for one another with a depth of feeling that was foreign to us." She paused, her gaze sweeping over the faces of humans she now considered dear friends. "But in reaching out to understand you, we have rediscovered a part of ourselves long suppressed. You've taught us that true strength lies not in detached observation, but in active participation, in allowing ourselves to feel, to connect, to care deeply." The mayor stepped up next, his weather-worn face creased in a warm smile. "And you, our Zephyrian friends, have shown us the power of combining heart and mind, empathy and technology. Together, we've not only healed our forest, but have begun to imagine a future where the boundaries between species and planets no longer limit our capacity for understanding and cooperation." As the celebration continued into the evening, with shared meals, music, and dancing, the once clear lines between human and Zephyrian cultures began to blur. Children taught Zephyrians how to roast marshmallows, while the aliens demonstrated their bioluminescent art techniques to fascinated adults. In a quiet moment, Dr. Vex found himself in conversation with the same elderly botanist he had spoken with during the crisis. "You know, the botanist mused, I've been thinking about what this all means for the future, not just for our town, or even for Earth, but for the galaxy." Dr. Vex tilted his head curiously. "What conclusions have you drawn?" The botanist's eyes twinkled. "I think we're witnessing the birth of something extraordinary, a model for how different species can come together, learn from each other, and create something greater than the sum of its parts." As the night sky blossomed with stars, humans and Zephyrians gathered on a hilltop overlooking the town and forest. Silith activated a holographic display, showing the vastness of the galaxy. "Each of these points of light," she explained, "represents a world, many of them teeming with life. For too long, my people have observed these worlds from afar, afraid of interference, of connection. But what we've experienced here has shown us a new way forward." She turned to the assembled crowd, her form glowing with intense emotion. "We propose a new kind of mission, not one of mere observation, but of connection. We invite you, our human friends, to join us in reaching out to other worlds, to share the lessons we've learned together about empathy, cooperation, and the strength that comes from embracing our differences." The proposal was met with enthusiastic agreement. Plans were soon underway for a joint human-Zephyrian space program, combining Earth's resourcefulness with Zephyrian technology. The little coastal town would become the center of a new initiative, a shining example of interspecies cooperation that would inspire both worlds. As the years passed, the impact of this unique partnership spread far beyond the borders of the town. The story of how a small community and a group of alien scientists had come together to say a forest became a symbol of hope across the globe. It sparked a renewed interest in environmental conservation, space exploration, and the search for extraterrestrial life. More Zephyrians came to Earth, and humans began to venture to the Zephyrian homeworld. Each exchange brought new insights, challenges, and opportunities for growth. The once clear boundaries between the two species continued to blur as they worked together to tackle global and interstellar challenges. One crisp autumn evening, a decade after the Zephyrians' first arrival, Sylph stood once again at the edge of the forest. The trees had grown taller, the underbrush richer, and the air was alive with the sounds of a thriving ecosystem. A small hand slipped into hers, and she looked down to see a young human Zephyrian child, the first of a new generation born from the union of the two species. "Tell me again," the child asked, eyes wide with wonder, "about the day you first came to Earth." Sylph smiled, her skin shimmering with love and hope. As she began the tale, she marveled at how far they had come. What had begun as a simple mission to study human empathy had blossomed into a cosmic journey of understanding, one that promised to reshape the very fabric of galactic society. Above them, the stars twinkled brightly, each one a potential new chapter in their shared story. The universe, vast and mysterious, awaited their exploration, not as separate species, but as a united force driven by curiosity, empathy, and the unshakable bonds of friendship. As human and Zephyrian alike looked to the future, they carried with them the most powerful lesson of all, that in the grand tapestry of the cosmos, it is our connections, to each other, to all living beings, and to the universe itself, that give life its deepest meaning and purpose.